Hey guys, my name is Kelli-Marie and welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you guys the top 15 ways in which you're able to save while solo traveling. For me, I've been traveling for about 5 years by myself, probably over 5 years, but before that it wasn't like as often as I'm doing it now. So most times I travel about 4 or 5 times a year. So yeah, I've kind of been able to pick up on a few of these tips as well. Some of them were trial and error, and some of them I've had to research myself to see what the best options were for. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and don't forget to click the like button if you do enjoy the video. Drop me a comment below if you actually have some more tips that you can share, and yeah, share them with everyone. And yeah, don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with my latest videos. So let's jump in to my top tips. So the first most obvious thing that I think most people kind of do anyway, but for those of you guys who don't know this option, is to be traveling and staying in hostels instead of hotels. So hostels are usually, they do actually have single rooms in which you can sleep and have a room to yourself, but most hostel tends to be you sharing a room, like a dormitory, with other people, other strangers. You can also share with your friends if you're traveling together. But I usually, this is weird, because if I usually travel with friends, then I travel and stay in a hotel, because hotels are usually cheaper when you're sharing it with more than one person. So with hostels as well, you get to meet really nice people, and it can have its pros and its cons, especially when you never really know truly who you're sharing with. Like if this person's gonna be like a really heavy snorer, or this person's gonna be really like a drunk that's coming in late at night from parties and stuff like that, or they don't really understand the concept that people need to sleep at night, then you can run into a few of those issues. But I don't tend to have those issues. And also most hostels tend to have like rules that state that after 10-11 o'clock then you're supposed to be using your indoor voice and being quiet and respectful of others. So most times people do respect that. So yes, that's my first top tip. So the second tip that I have is also to lessen your hand luggage. So I know a lot of people, they like to travel with a lot of stuff, but for me, since I've kind of journeyed into minimalism, I found that really and truly I don't need as much stuff as I once thought I did. I used to bring like a gym bag sized bag, and I really realized that I didn't need all the stuff that I brought inside. So I carefully pack everything before I leave, rather than just chucking whatever together thinking that, oh, this is cute, this is cute. I kind of put together my outfits, which I'm sure I'll wear, and if anything I kind of leave all the non-essentials out. I also try and get like, you know, mini travel size items, and buy containers in which I can pour like my bigger bottles of like lotion or shampoo into a smaller one. What happens with a small hand luggage is that you don't need to check that in. I usually take a backpack, which you can see from my previous videos. I only take a backpack when I'm traveling. It's really easy, and it's also light, and you know, it takes a lot of load off you because you're not walking around with this huge suitcase, especially when you're only staying for like 3-4 days. There's no need to take a whole like 10-kilo suitcase full of clothes, because you really most times are not going to use it unless, I don't know, you design fashion or it's a part of your job and you need to take it. So number 3 is not spending an excess amount of money on adapters, towels, or locks. I usually bring my own, and I actually invested in kind of medium to small size towel, which was easy for me to roll up and just put in my backpack. And this means that it dries really quickly, so that when I'm coming back home, I'm not coming back with a damp, musty towel as well. Also, I bought my padlocks from B&M Bargains and Primark and Poundland, which are all very cheap options. Poundland, I got a really strong padlock from there for only £1, and I take this on long trips with me because it's more like, it's stronger. So if anything, and I go out for a long day trip, then there won't be really any way that they can break in and just take my stuff. And yeah, also adapters. I've also seen adapters being sold in hostels or hotels for 10 quid, and it's just ridiculous. You can buy an adapter for basically just a third of that price, and it's just ridiculous how they kind of boost up the prices, but at the same time they have to make their money somehow. And since hostels tend to be kind of cheap anyway, I think that's just the way that they earn their money back. So moving on to the 4th way that you can save money is basically eat eating locally. And what I mean by this is not eating at your hostel or hotel, because they tend to also triple the prices of their items, just because of the fact that it's very convenient for you, and they know that after spending a long day of like traveling and basically seeing the sights or whatever, that you just want to come back to the hotel and just chill and not have to be worrying about walking all over to find a decent, you know, restaurant that's actually a decent price. So of course they're going to do that because it's just convenient, and that's just really the way that the world works. So basically when you're staying at hostels or hotel, they'll just sell you the same kind of continental basic food that you'd have back home anyway. So when you go out and you eat locally at the local cafe, you can see what the locals actually eat, and, you know, kind of expands your food palette. So that's another thing that I enjoy doing as well. The fifth way that you're able to save a bit of money while traveling is kind of similar to the last one as well, is cooking your own food while you're staying at the hostel or the hotel, or even the apartment, because some of them actually provide you with their own kitchen for usage. Most of them tend to be free for you to use, but some of the occasional ones, they will actually charge you a bit, especially if it's an expensive kind of country like Copenhagen. They charged for you to cook in their hostel, but it was like, I think it was €2, so, and that was a one-off fee, so that was pretty good anyway. So yeah, cooking, especially if you have allergies and stuff and you're never going to be 100% sure that, you know, wherever you go they're not going to be serving up some kind of weird stuff that has something that you're allergic to, and that could be fatal. Just be careful when you're traveling and eating abroad. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy the normal food that the locals have, of course not. Just be careful of that as well. Number 6 is actually one of the weird things. So a couple of months ago I was searching for some flights to, I can't remember where it was, but I was searching for some flights to, I think it was Norway, and it was coming up as £106 or something like that. And actually 2 weeks ago when I was searching for places to go to, I saw that these same flights are being sold for £28, again on the same website, and I was just like mind blown, because it's usually you book in advance and you save money, but this time it was the opposite way around. Sometimes booking in advance will work completely fine, which is what I do most times, but sometimes I'm utterly shocked of how much you can save. That's literally near like £80 off just by booking at the last minute. So I think, you know, if you have some last minute time, then do it that way, and I'm sure you'll be shocked to find that you can find some really good deals. Number 7 is basically kind of like leading on from the previous point, and I say travel by coaches whenever you can. You save a ton of money, and what I usually do is that I travel overnight by coach, so that means that I'm not missing like a full-on day of like traveling and seeing the sights and everything. I usually do this when I have some time off from work, especially if I'm on a late shift. I'll just leave directly from work, change my clothes, leave my clothes at work, and then just grab my bag and then head out and then sleep on the coach until I get to somewhere like Paris, which is really cheap. You can get like coaches for like £28 if you can't find a flight, and yeah, that's just, it saves so much off your wallet as well. And as I said, sleeping during the night coaches, some of them are really nice. You have sleeper coaches, and it's just really handy to get to destination A to B. I think you can go to Paris, to Brussels, both of which I've been on the night coaches, and you can also go to Amsterdam, I think. Some of them actually go on the ferry, so sometimes you actually have to come off the bus and go upstairs, but they still have like comfortable seats that you can sleep in on the ferry. So number 8 is basically should be kind of obvious, but traveling during the weekdays or outside of like school holidays is oftentimes a lot cheaper and a lot less frustrating. There's no rush for everyone to be going on their holidays. I've been traveling, I think when I traveled to Stockholm to go there, it was so like empty, like the airport when I got off, and I'm like, where is everyone? And that was because people were mostly during school or working at the time, and then when the weekend came, then that's when everyone came out. So it wasn't like it was completely lonely, but it was definitely a lot less, made you feel a lot less tired, and it made you feel refreshed when you did actually step out of the airport and not having to be hustling and bustling, especially when you have to go through the security control, which is often just oh, it's often so manic, but it was actually fine this time. So I definitely recommend just going outside of school holidays because it's so cheap. The next point, which is number 9, is basically taking public transport or cycling. So this is usually really so much cheaper. Usually taxis kind of charge you based on the fact that you're just one single person just taking up a whole like taxi by itself, unless you're traveling with friends. So usually it's a lot more expensive. But when you travel by like bus, you can see like how the locals would see every day. And also when you're traveling by cycling as well, you get to see so much more sights, and instead of just walking on foot. I love walking on foot, but because England they drive on the opposite side of the road compared to like Europe, it's oftentimes scarier when I go to another country and they're driving on the opposite side of the road. I'm like, I don't think I want to cycle here. But it's a good option if you are from a country that they do drive on the opposite side of the road. You won't have any problems or anything like that. And it's oftentimes cheaper to cycle and do rentals, just because hotels and hostels, they will give you like a discount for renting their own bikes. And yeah, it's really cool to just go around and see the sights, and people look like they have fun while doing it. I personally love cycle, but as I said, the opposite side of the road really scares me. Number 10 is getting a city card. So a city card basically allows you to have a discount on like traveling. So the city card that I got last time when I went to Copenhagen, I spent 150 the Danish kroners, I think that's how you pronounce it, and basically it allowed me to travel wherever within the city without having to pay any extra. Certain city card, I think I got the city pass that time, but if you get the proper city card you can have a discount on numerous attractions. If you get the city card in Copenhagen, then you get to see many of the sites completely free, like the Ridley's Believe It or Not museum. And I'm so sorry that I only bought that. I think that one was about 399 Danish kroners, which I should have bought that, because one of the sites is already 120 kroners to see. I just completely kicked myself in the backside, but next time I go back I will definitely do that, because it just seems like a really great way to just see everything and save a lot of money at the same time. So number 11 is very contradictory to the previous point that I just made, and it is not buying into some of these kind of gimmicks that for like traveling and stuff. Usually I say go to the tourist office and actually get the proper, you know, car or whatever from there, because some of them will try to like rip you off on the sides, especially when you're walking down the street. You'll see some kind of people that'll be trying to sell you things, and it's not a valid ticket or anything like that. So don't get into those kind of gimmicks, because a lot of them are just scams. And also as well, if you're only going to, like, I don't know, say you're going to Copenhagen for one day and you didn't have like a long amount of time to spend anyway, maybe you're only spending like, I don't know, 4 hours, and it's like a stopover and you need to get somewhere else, it's probably not worth you getting like a city card for 24 hours, because you won't be able to see so much anyway, unless it's a small country like Luxembourg where you can actually see most of the sites within one go. Then I'd say like a city card is completely worth it. And yeah, it just depends on what you're planning to do. If it's a long-term kind of stay, like 2 weeks or something, definitely get like a city card so you can see a lot of the sites, and that you actually have a lot of time to actually see those sites. So the next one is number 12, and I think it's not so much controversial, but I feel like a lot of people like not care anyway. I don't think it really matters, but I definitely would not really recommend souvenir shopping. Souvenir shoppings tend to be very expensive. You can actually go like a local vendor and get the same exact thing, the exact same make, for cheaper instead of going to like souvenir shops, and a lot of times they're not even like very like properly made, so it's kind of like wasting your time. By the time you get on your flight and head back home, it's already falling apart. Certain things like alcohol or bags or stuff like that, I would say yeah, it is worth it, but usually I would buy stuff like that at the airport, because a lot of like liquids and foods and stuff, you can't take them on your flight unless you do check in anyway, which most times I don't. So I usually buy like alcohol for my dad after I hit the airport, so I won't have any problems while going through security. And also sometimes when you buy a souvenir, you never really know how much it's gonna really weigh when you add it all to your final bag at the end, and then you realize, oh no, I actually have too much stuff to carry on, and I'm gonna have to leave some things behind. But if it's just something minor, like a nice cute souvenir, like I don't know, like a little cat toy or something for your like cousin, then yeah, it's completely worth it. It's just one of the things I don't tend to buy because it just wastes my money and I don't really get that much use out of them anyway. Number 13 is actually one of my most favorite points, is actually going with a free walking tour with your hostel. A lot of them do provide free walking tours, and at the end you actually get the option to leave them a tip based on how well they did their tours. And I think it's completely like great idea to see the sights, learn a bit of history at the same time, and meet people as well. So I think it's really fun, and yeah, the option that you get to leave a tip at the end while it being free is really cool. And I've definitely done that before and left a tip just based on the fact that I really enjoyed myself. And yeah, I would definitely recommend, you know, some of the hop on and hop off tours, they can be a bit frustrating, I find, and you never really get to like truly see the sights because it never always slows down when you're going past a proper site. They just continue driving. So yeah, I say walking tour is really cool, especially in a place that's kind of small anyway, so you kind of get like a lot of legwork per the place that you visit. So number 14, I would definitely recommend that a lot of people get, is a non-contract mobile goodie bag. And this is basically, you know, when you go abroad and you always hear these horror stories of when people go abroad on holiday and then they come back and they've run up the phone bills so much to thousands of pounds. That is my worst nightmare. So I've always invested in a goodie bag because I'm with giffgaff, so they allow you to buy a goodie bag from about £5 upwards to £25. £25 is the unlimited. I'm with the £10 goodie bag where I get unlimited calls and texts to anyone, as long as it's within like a normal like mobile phone. So like 08 numbers, certain 08 numbers, like they will charge you for that. But for most times, if you're just contacting a friend or like a business or something, then most times it's not really an issue. And yeah, you all get that for like £10, and then I think I get 3 gigabytes. I get 3 gigabytes of data included, and then 1 extra free just in case we run out. So I think that's a really good idea, and that will save you a ton of money. I'm not sure, depending on where you're watching this video from, if it is optional for you to like check out like goodie bags and stuff, but if it is, definitely recommend it, and definitely get a non-contract one, because it does save you money, especially when you go back home. If you don't usually text or call a lot of people anyway, then there's kind of no point. And number 15, the last and final point, is kind of obvious but not obvious at the same time, and it is using your passport, your European passport, if you do live in European Union, UK for now, to basically get into certain attractions at a limited discount. And I found this out when I went to France. Originally I went to Paris and I wanted to see the Louvre, and if you show them your passport, then you get in free as long as you're under 25 and yeah, you're a part of the European Union. Unfortunately, I don't know for how long because of this Brexit thing that's happening, but make use of it. If you're turning like 25 soon and you have a European Union passport or getaway, then definitely make use of that because it's really handy and it saves you so much money. You will get discounts with that as well depending on where you go. So I think it's just a really good idea, and yeah, that is my final point. So I hope that you very much enjoyed this video and that you got some tips, and that yeah, you have like safe and fun, happy travel time. So thank you guys for tuning into my channel, and I hope that you did enjoy, and yeah, I will see you next time. Don't forget to click subscribe if you did enjoy my video. I want to see like updated videos coming up soon. I do kind of similar videos like this, and I'll continue posting. And also drop me a comment below and let me know if there's any other tips that you know you can share, because I just keep like learning at the same time. Some of these tips I only learned recently, so I'm just continuously learning, and yeah, it's been fun. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.